Good evening, I'm Tina Jha with News Tonight, where we get you the day's biggest news stories from across India and the world. But before I take you through what made news during the day today, an appeal to all our viewers. India is witnessing a second wave of the coronavirus pandemic, and it is very, very important for all of us to maintain COVID-appropriate behavior. I urge all of you to wear your face masks, wash your hands and face regularly, and also ensure physical distancing each time you step outside. These simple precautions by us will help us keep the infection away. Let's now move to the headlines of the day. Prime Minister Modi reviews availability of oxygen cylinders, suggests ways to increase production in plants, calls for better synergy between central ministries and the state governments. New COVID cases crossed 2 lakh for the second day in a row. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan meets state health ministers, asserts government prepared to deal with the challenge of rising cases. Over 11,072,000 lakh people vaccinated in the country so far. Weekend curfew from 10 p.m. tonight in national capital Delhi. Uttar Pradesh announces lockdown on Sunday with only emergency and essential services allowed to operate. Several states including Maharashtra, Odisha and Punjab also impose restrictions. In West Bengal, voting to take place for 45 seats in the 5th phase of election from 7 a.m. tomorrow. The Election Commission puts restrictions on election campaigning for the remaining 3 phases, extends silence period to 72 hours, no public meetings, rallies or street plays allowed from 7 p.m. to 10 a.m. And the UK clears extradition of Nirav Modi to India. Fugitive businessman faces charges of fraud and money laundering in 14,000 crore rupees PNB loan scam. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called for ramping up the production of medical-grade oxygen in the country. Taking stock of the rising demand for medical oxygen due to a steep rise in cases, the Prime Minister stressed that it is important to ensure synergy across ministries and state governments. He also took a detailed review of the current situation and oxygen supply and projected use in the coming 15 days across 12 high-burden states. The Prime Minister also asked officials to ensure seamless and free movement of tankers carrying oxygen throughout the country. The Prime Minister was informed that states and transporters have been asked to ensure that the tankers move round the clock, with drivers working in shifts to meet the surge in demand. Cylinder filling plants will also be permitted to work for 24 hours with necessary safeguards. The government has also allowed industrial cylinders to be used for medical oxygen after due purging. During the review, officials also briefed the Prime Minister about the efforts being made to import medical-grade oxygen.
हमने भी, हमारे मंत्रालय ने भी और जो हमारा डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ फार्मास्यूटिकल्स है उसमें हमारे जो सहयोगी मंत्री हैं मंडाविया जी, उन्होंने भी एक तरफ तो उन सब कंपनियों के साथ मीटिंग की है बहुत विस्तार से जो रेमडेसिविर का प्रोडक्शन करती हैं, उनको अपनी प्रोडक्शन कैपेसिटीज़ को एनहेंस करने के लिए कहा गया है और उन्होंने उस दिशा में बहुत तेज़ी से काम शुरू किया है। दूसरी तरफ भारत सरकार के ड्रग कंट्रोलर के माध्यम से सारे देश के स्टेट ड्रग कंट्रोलर्स को सख्त इंस्ट्रक्शन की गई है कि रेमडेसिविर के संदर्भ में किसी भी प्रकार की कोई अगर होर्डिंग कर रहा है या कोई भी ब्लैक मार्केटिंग कर रहा है, काला बाजारी कर रहा है, पेशेंट को एक्सप्लॉइट कर रहा है, तो उसके खिलाफ जितनी भी सख्त से सख्त सजा है वो उसको देनी चाहिए।
Earlier on Thursday, the Union Health Ministry said that 100 hospitals in the country will have their own oxygen plants under the PM CARES Fund. The decision was taken at a meeting of Empowered Group. The Empowered Group has also decided to float a tender for import of 50,000 metric tons of medical oxygen. The Union Health Minister has reassured the nation that the government is fully prepared to deal with the growing challenges of the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Health Minister visited the All India Institute of Medical Sciences Trauma Centre facility in New Delhi to take stock of the situation. He was accompanied by AIIMS Director Randeep Guleria. The Minister assured that India is better equipped to tackle the COVID situation this time around as compared to last year. He also stressed on the need for strict adherence of COVID-appropriate behavior.
किसी भी प्रकार की किसी चीज़ की कोई शॉर्टेज नहीं, अनुभव भी पर्याप्त हो गया है, सामान भी पर्याप्त है, टेस्टिंग की सुविधा भी पर्याप्त है और अभी हॉस्पिटल के अंदर यद्यपि पिछले साल में हॉस्पिटल में जो हमारी कोविड डेडिकेटेड हॉस्पिटल या हेल्थ फैसिलिटी या जिसको हम कोविड केयर सेंटर कहते थे, इसमें लगभग 19 लाख के करीब हम लोगों ने बेड्स जनरेट किए थे। ऑक्सीजन और आईसीयू सपोर्टेड मिलाकर सब तरीके के 12-13 हज़ार क्वारंटाइन सेंटर्स देश भर में डेवलप्ड हैं और सब जगह ज़रूरत के हिसाब से सारी के सारे और फर्दर कहाँ स्ट्रेंथन करना है। कल हम सभी संबंधित जो स्थान जहाँ तकलीफ़ें हो रही हैं वहाँ के स्वास्थ्य मंत्रियों के साथ कल फिर बैठक ले रहे हैं ओनली फॉर फर्दर ऑगमेंटेशन। आई एम श्योर कि जिस तरह से 2020 में हमने चैलेंज को ओवरकम किया और सफलता की एक लगभग स्टेज तक हम पहुंचे थे, ये चैलेंज भी हमारा जो है ओवरकम हो जाएगा।
On alleged shortage of remdesivir in the country, the Union Health Minister said that the government has asked manufacturers to increase the production of the drug. He also said enforcement authorities of states and drugs controllers have been asked to take action on incidences of black marketing, hoarding and overcharging of the drug.
सभी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स के साथ मिलकर जो चीज़ों की और आवश्यकता है, अगर देश को और ज़्यादा ऑक्सीजन की कैपेसिटी को स्ट्रेंथन करना है, उसके लिए भी कल और भी ज़्यादा उसको रैंप अप करने के लिए निर्णय लिए गए हैं। उसको भी हम तेज़ी से और डेवलप कर रहे हैं।
And the rapid surge in the number of coronavirus cases in the country continues. More than 2,17,000 fresh cases of COVID-19 have been registered in different parts of the country in the last 24 hours, pushing the nation's COVID-19 tally to over 1,42 lakh. India's total active caseload has reached 15,69,000 and now comprises 10.98% of the country's total infections. 1,185 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours, taking the death toll to 1,74,308. With the 1,18,000 new recoveries also reported in the same period, the total recoveries in the country have crossed 1,25 lakh. The national COVID-19 recovery rate has slipped to 87.80%. 10 states, which include Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, Chhattisgarh, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Kerala, Tamil Nadu and West Bengal, have shown a rise in COVID daily new cases. 79.10% of the new cases have been reported from just these 10 states. Maharashtra continues to report the highest daily new cases at 61,695. It is followed by Uttar Pradesh with 22,339 cases, while Delhi reported more than 19,000 new cases of COVID-19. Talking about vaccinations now, over 11 crore 72 lakh COVID-19 vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far. Over 27 lakh vaccine doses were administered in just the last 24 hours. These include over 90 lakh 82,000 healthcare workers who have got the first dose and over 56 lakh 34,000 who have also been administered the second dose. In addition, more than 1 crore frontline workers have received the first dose of the vaccine and over 51 lakh have got the second dose. Over 4 crore 42 lakh people above the age of 60 have received the first dose of the vaccine and more than 30 lakh people have also got the second dose. More than 3 crore 87 lakh beneficiaries aged 45 to 60 have been given the first dose and the second dose of the vaccine has been received by 9 lakh 88,000 people. So as the COVID situation turns miserable in the country, state governments including Delhi, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra have imposed weekend lockdowns, complete curfews and also night curfews in their respective areas, depending on the situation in these states. Weekend curfew will remain in force from 10 p.m. on Friday till Monday 5 a.m. in national capital Delhi. All essential services will continue to operate during the weekend curfew. The Delhi government has ordered the closure of malls, gyms, spas, auditoriums and swimming pools in the city. The government officials and judicial employees will be allowed to travel. Health, fire, police, transport departments, along with electricity, water, sanitation, gas supply related services have been exempted from the weekend curfew. Also, electronic and print media will also be exempted from weekend curfew. Pregnant women, patients have also been exempted. Tickets will be considered as passes for passengers travelling from the airport, railway stations and bus stands. The Uttar Pradesh government has also announced complete closure on Sunday in the entire state. All markets except the essential services will remain closed. The night curfew will start from 8 p.m. and will continue till 7 a.m. In Rajasthan, the weekend curfew will start from 6 p.m. on Friday and will continue till 5 a.m. on Monday. Banking and LPG services, also fruits, vegetable and milk vendors are exempted from weekend curfew. All educational and coaching institutes as well as libraries will be closed from the 16th till the 30th of April. The government of Odisha has also announced night curfew from 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. in 10 districts bordering Chhattisgarh. The government has extended the timing of night curfew in these 10 districts bordering Chhattisgarh to 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. A weekend shutdown will be imposed in urban areas of these districts from 17th April in addition to night curfew. The night curfew in urban areas of remaining 20 districts of the state will also be imposed from Saturday from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. The state government has suspended the interstate bus services from the 19th of April. Intra-state bus operations will be allowed only with limited sitting capacity. A weekend curfew has also been imposed in Chandigarh by the local administration across the Union Territory starting Friday. Several areas in Madhya Pradesh have also been put under lockdown. Night curfew has been imposed in other states as well, which include Karnataka, Gujarat, Punjab and Jammu and Kashmir. Time now for all the election updates from West Bengal, which will witness the 5th phase of polling tomorrow, that's the 17th. The Election Commission has announced new measures for the West Bengal Assembly elections amid rising cases of COVID-19 in the country. The poll panel has placed restrictions on campaigning by political parties for the remaining 3 phases of assembly elections in the state. The time for campaigning has been curtailed up to 7 p.m. from the earlier 10 p.m. Now there will be no campaigning between 7 p.m. and 10 a.m. on campaign days in the state. The Election Commission has also extended the silence period from 48 hours to 72 in each of the remaining 3 of the 8 phases. Besides, the poll panel has also directed candidates and political parties to ensure absolute adherence to COVID guidelines. It said that any violations will face stern action, including criminal action. Organizers of public meetings and rallies will be responsible for providing masks and sanitizers to every person attending these events. District election officers and returning officers have been directed to take strict measures to enforce COVID guidelines during campaigning. And all preparations are in place in Bengal for the 5th phase of assembly polls on Saturday. The polling will be held from 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. with adherence to COVID-19 protocol. 45 assembly constituencies will go to polls in this phase. Over 1 crore voters in the state will decide the political fate of 342 candidates. Voting will be held at 15,789 polling stations across 16 seats in North 24 Parganas, 8 each in Purba Bardhaman and Nadia, 7 in Jalpaiguri, 5 in Darjeeling and 1 in Kalimpong district. Security measures have been heightened in view of the violence in the previous phase, in which 5 people died in Cooch Behar, including 4 in CISF firing. The Election Commission has deployed 853 companies of central forces to ensure free and fair voting. The poll panel has also put measures in place to ensure strict adherence to COVID-19 guidelines. High decibel election campaigning is on in the state for the remaining 3 phases. Union Home Minister and senior BJP leader Amit Shah held public rallies and road shows at various places in the state. Addressing a political rally in Tehata, Amit Shah accused West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee of denying citizenship to Dalit, Matwa and Namsudra communities. He said that the BJP will give all such communities citizenship under CAA as soon as they come to power.
2 मई को आप भाजपा की सरकार बना दो, ये सारे हमारे भाइयों को नागरिकता भी देंगे, सम्मान भी देंगे और गले से भी लगाकर उनको अच्छे से जिएगा। मित्रों, सीए का विरोध दीदी इसलिए कर रही है कि उनको अपनी वोट बैंक का डर, मगर दीदी हम भाजपा वाले वोट बैंक में नहीं मानते हैं। ये देश का जो नागरिक है वो ही हमारा वोट बैंक है। अरे दीदी, कम्युनिस्ट कांग्रेस क्या रोकेंगे? इनकी तो वोट बैंक की ये घुसपैठिए है, घुसपैठिए। मैं आपको बताता हूं, 2 तारीख को कमल फूल की भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बना दो। इंसान तो क्या, बॉर्डर के उस ओर से परिंदा भी पैर नहीं मार पाएगा, परिंदा भी।
Responding to Rahul Gandhi's DNA comment, Amit Shah said that in BJP's DNA, D stands for development, N stands for nationalism and A for Atmanirbhar Bharat. He also took a dig at Rahul Gandhi, calling him a tourist politician. Trinamool Congress Chief and West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee also held election rallies in Nadia and North 24 Parganas on Friday. Addressing the rally in Nadia, she said that she would urge the Election Commission to not allow outsiders into the state to attend and organize BJP's rallies without a negative RT-PCR report. She also alleged that the COVID-19 surge in West Bengal could have been under check if Prime Minister Modi ensured vaccination for every citizen of the state. In some other news, diamond merchant Nirav Modi's extradition order was signed by UK Home Secretary Preeti Patel, paving the way of bringing the fugitive billionaire wanted in India in the PNB scam back to the country. The extradition was ordered by a trial court in the month of February. Nirav Modi, who remains behind bars at Wandsworth Prison in southwest London, has 14 days to apply for permission to appeal against the Home Secretary's order in the High Court in London. Remember, back on the 25th of February, the Westminster Magistrates Court had concluded that the diamond merchant has a case to answer before the Indian courts, leaving the sign-off on the order with the Cabinet Minister. Nirav Modi had allegedly perpetrated the fraud in the Punjab National Bank in collusion with his uncle Mehul Choksi. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has asserted that terming India's actions in Afghanistan as being indirectly aimed at Pakistan is an absolute fantasy. He said such insinuations undermine India's prolonged effort towards a peaceful and developed Afghanistan. Speaking about the negotiations between the Afghan government and the Taliban, the External Affairs Minister said that all such peace processes should be both led and owned by Afghan people. He added that the outcome of the process should be in the collective interests of the Afghan people. Dr. Jaishankar was participating in the Junction Kabul, the Road to Peace session of the Raisina Dialogue 2021.
The principles are laid out there. We all know what it is. The issue is how do you get everybody to work together on what they say they believe in without getting, going a different way because of calculations and short-term interests and pressures from other parties that they may feel. I think in a way what all of us see in President Biden's announcement is, a big step which is going to take Afghanistan in a certain direction, and it's important that we all work together to ensure that the direction is right and the outcomes are good for Afghanistan.
Participating in the same session, National Security Advisor of Afghanistan, Hamdullah Mohib, said that the new plan of the US government to withdraw its forces from Afghanistan by September 2021 is a great opportunity for the Afghans to take control of the security situation in the country.
What level and what kind of support would be provided to the ANDSF? How will this transition take place? And what will the relationship look like beyond that with these and also with the region? This is a time where we work closely with our regional partners to ensure that the transition happens smoothly, and also to ensure that we all work together for a peaceful and stable Afghanistan in which the rights of all Afghans are protected, and that we maintain our sovereignty.
Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif, who also attended the joint session, said that every country needs to put aside their differences and focus on commonalities. Stressing on the need to put joint efforts for a peaceful Afghanistan, he asserted that an Islamic emirate in Afghanistan will not only pose an existential threat to Pakistan, but it will also be a national security threat to both Iran and India.
I think democratic forces inside Afghanistan need to think about how to bring themselves together in order to present a unified plan for the future of Afghanistan. Because we know what the plan of the Taliban is. They have every right to their own plan. I'm not denying the fact that they have a right to their plan. But it is not going to be the consensus plan for the future of Afghanistan. An emirate is not something that Afghanistan can be rebuilt upon. It is important for everybody on all sides to stress on certain principles.
Minister of Foreign Affairs of Maldives, Abdullah Shahid, met External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on the second day of his visit to India. During the meeting, both ministers discussed bilateral, regional and international issues of mutual interest. India has assured Maldives of fulfilling all commitments made to the island nation, either on COVID vaccines or support to its economy in COVID era. The External Affairs Minister assured his Maldivian counterpart of supplying of essential commodities from India as per the bilateral trade agreement. He also promised India's support to Maldives as the president of 76th UN General Assembly. The two leaders also reviewed the status of ongoing India-assisted projects in Maldives. So that's it from us in this bulletin. But before we leave, I once again appeal to all our viewers to continue to maintain COVID-appropriate behavior in order to stay safe from the ongoing second wave of the coronavirus pandemic. Remember to wear your face masks, wash your hands and face regularly, and also ensure that you maintain physical distancing whenever you step outside. These simple precautions are all that it takes on our part to defeat the pandemic. Take care of yourselves and your families. Good night and thank you for your time.